Welcome to Down the Well. I'm your host, Elle Rowley, and this is our first episode, and I am so excited that you're here. To tell you a little bit about myself, I have 4 little ones who are not so little anymore, with ages ranging from 8 to 16. I've been married for 18 years now to a guy named Jared Rowley. We really like each other still, and that's fun. We live on just under 3 acres out here in Bonsall, California. It's just a little town in North County, San Diego. A lot of people in San Diego don't know where it is. That's okay. We like it that way. We flatter ourselves by thinking that we're kind of country people out here because we've got a few animals, a big garden, this barn that I'm filming in. We also use this for homeschool co-op. So, always doing random things out here in Bonsall. Some of you may have known me from my previous life as the founder of Solly Baby, which is a baby carrier company that I founded in 2011. And my husband and I sold the majority share of in 2021, although I'm still involved over there and own part of the company still. I got to know many of you and your babies through my work there, and I absolutely loved it. Still just treasure that time. I connected with thousands of mothers all around the globe. And after a decade, I found that one of my favorite things was helping mothers embrace their motherhood and find transformation in it, not just in spite of it. So at the same time that I was nurturing other mothers, I was having babies of my own and running a company through which I found my own transformation. Motherhood definitely threw me for a loop, and starting a business made that loop bigger, but it became the greatest catalyst for personal growth that I literally ever could have imagined. In many ways, I feel like my life started after I had my first baby. What could have left me drained and lost as I was in service to everyone else all the time, instead helped me evolve into a far from perfect, but better version of myself. That didn't happen by accident. I started absorbing everything I could for making my motherhood what I'd always dreamt that it could be. I wanted to share the things that I learned with other mothers as I watched them go through their own evolution with each baby. And I really wanted them to know that they were about to enter what could be the most incredible adventure of their life, to know themselves better, not just to lose themselves in the service of others. As part of this desire, I went through a life coaching certification program in 2017 just to help me get more tangible tools for myself, my family, my team, and the mothers I was reaching through Solly Baby every day. It was beyond incredible, but I secretly hope that there would be a time when I could dedicate more of my time and heart into empowering the mothers that I've come to love so much. So it's been over 3 years since Jared and I sold Solly Baby. And to tell you the truth, I did not want to get back online. I had an amazing run at Solly Baby, but I have been pretty content raising babies, working in my garden, writing children's books, and just working as an investor. I was also thrilled by the prospect of having an in real life, not spending so much time on screens. But I've had this overwhelming feeling for over a year now that's either some kind of parasite or maybe it's a call from something beyond me to answer. So I've decided it's the latter, and I'm here trying my best to answer it. So why this show and why Down the Well? I think that we've lost something very important in our culture, and I want to help us rediscover it. In short, I think we are falling prey to a victim narrative in motherhood rather than a hero's narrative. While I am so grateful for the choices that women have today and have found such immense satisfaction in my professional work, I fear that we may have unintentionally demoted the status of mother in the process. I'm just a mom is a phrase that I hear far too often. I believe that motherhood is one of the greatest calls to adventure and a hero's journey unlike any other, with opportunities to grow and to know oneself better than almost any other. Child rearing is often seen as a burden, never-ending self-sacrifice with a mental load that inextricably leads to a loss of self, creativity, financial resources, and pleasure. instead of the very gateway to gaining all of those things at a much more authentic level. Because of this, fewer women want to have children at all. In fact, 47% of young people report not wanting to have children. 47%. And the women who are having children are finding it less satisfying. And I really believe it's so much because of this narrative. The self-centeredness of our society, rejection of responsibility, insatiable desire for ease and comfort is ironically leading to higher rates of depression, anxiety, and overall less life satisfaction, even though the data is so clear that cultivating connection and long-term emotional bonds and having a sense of purpose and meaning and taking on responsibility actually directly impact a person's happiness, all of which are offered in abundance in parenting, in spite a lot of challenges and stressors that come with it, right? There's a cost. Still, the idea of sacrifice, especially for someone else, is demonized and seen as losing yourself and waiting for a long-term harvest for anything in life now is seen as punishing and unnecessary, and someone should help us get it faster and more easily and all the things. We live in a fast food, dopamine addicted culture, and it is not very conducive to meaningful motherhood. We are a maiden or youth-obsessed culture that has lost our connection with the sacred and the potential that motherhood has always had to help us evolve into our best selves, to shed our former identity, not for a lesser one, but for an even more authentic one with increased capacity and confidence. Because of this shift in culture, we're instead trying to survive motherhood, preserving every tiny shred of our former selves as possible, all while missing the point that we aren't losing ourselves into a great abyss of dirty diapers, even though it feels like that sometimes. We are surrendering to the most natural, and I would add divine biological process ever known to man, because it literally created man, in exchange for what has the potential to be the most transcendent and transformative process to become our very best, highest, most radiant selves. This is where the idea down the well comes from. Let me back up. Most of us have heard about Joseph Campbell's hero's journey, right? It's rooted in the ideas of Carl Jung, where a hero embarks on an adventure, faces challenges, undergoes transformation, and returns home with a newfound wisdom or gifts to share. It's the archetypal pattern of just about every good book or movie or personal story. Think Harry Potter, Star Wars, Lion King, Mulan, Hunger Games, Wizard of Oz, like all of them. While this is the most popular archetypal pattern we use to guide our lives, there is another hero's journey that we rarely, if ever, talk about, which Jungian analyst and author Lisa Marchiano so poignantly lays out in this book that I love, Motherhood, Finding and Facing Yourself. The other journey is the mother's hero's journey. Have you ever even heard of it? Why haven't we heard of it? It's slightly different, but that slightly might mean everything in gaining more clarity as we attempt to make our motherhood transformative rather than just survivable. So let me start with a quick story. This is an old fairy tale called The Two Caskets. Okay, so once there was a woman with a lazy daughter and a lovely stepdaughter whom she mistreats. She has them both sit on the edge of a well one day to spin flax. She tells them that the first one to have their thread break is going to get pushed down the well. Naturally, she gives her daughter the best flax, so it's the stepdaughter's that breaks first. The mean woman promptly pushes the stepdaughter down the well. Okay, so at the end of her descent down this dark well going into the unknown, the stepdaughter finds herself in a beautiful land where she immediately is met with a series of tests unbeknownst to her. She treats everyone and everything that she meets with an open-heartedness, a kindness, a curiosity, a humility, an industriousness. And after solving several tasks from an old woman that she meets along the way, the old woman lets her choose a casket of all things to bring back home with her. She chooses of all the caskets, the plainest one. And when she gets home, she opens it. Stepmother's there and she finds that it's full of riches. Stepmother doesn't like this. She is now like, okay, brings daughter, you're going down too. She brings the daughter down the well, pushes her right down, But the daughter doesn't have the same experience. She doesn't pass any of the tests that the stepdaughter did because of her laziness and entitlement. And at the end, she chooses, of all the caskets, the fanciest casket to bring home. Upon her return, though, she opens it with her mother, only to find a fire burst out of it that burns her and her mother to death. Sweet story, no? Well, while it might not be the most comforting bedtime story, this encapsulates the mother's hero's journey. Motherhood is a fall down a proverbial well into the unknown over and over and over again, right? This is why we see symbols of wells in so many stories, myths, fairy tales, scriptural accounts connected with the feminine. The traditional hero's journey is out. The female hero's journey is down. It's a confrontation with our own darkness, our own souls, dropping us into a completely new land of tests and challenges. Will we come back with treasure or a curse with each fall down the well, in each phase of motherhood, in each day of motherhood? Will we get the sought-after transformation from caterpillar to butterfly? Well, it depends. Can you bear the test with open-heartedness, curiosity, humility? The daughter and the stepdaughter represent two parts within each of us, warring with each other on a daily basis. So knowing that life is going to continually throw us down the well, whether we want it to or not. This show, Down the Well, is all about learning how to descend with the humility, the curiosity, and the open-heartedness so we can come back with all the treasures of wisdom and growth and a greater sense of wholeness. Are you feeling a greater sense of wholeness because of being a mom? Do you feel the call for adventure? Do you know that you are on a hero's journey? I hope so. But if not, I want to help you get there. I want to help you reframe it so you feel that in the deepest fibers of your being. We will explore this through practical application, coaching, findings through research, as well as tapping into wisdom traditions and interviews with matriarchs or women who have taken their own mother's heroes' journeys. I'm so excited for that part. I honestly can't wait. Motherhood is hard. I don't need to tell anybody that. It brings up all of our stuff. We all thought that we were patient before having kids, right? We're often looking at little mirrors of ourselves and our children, for better and for hardest. It can bring up self-loathing, fear, shame, insecurity, rage, even self-hatred. So fun, right? It can be tempting when life gets hard to disengage with our kids and especially ourselves, to outsource, to numb ourselves, to numb our kids, to literally hide in a closet, although sometimes that's exactly what we need to do, or even in a job or in cleaning the house. That one's my favorite. Or in trying to control everything and everyone, because that is so much easier than dealing with the complexity of life. But this hiding and silencing and numbing of our inner voices to find relief comes at a cost. And Marciano posits that the cost is our own authenticity. We're no longer the old caterpillar. That former self is no longer authentic. The cost is the opportunity to know ourselves better, to wrestle with our souls, and to grow into the fullest versions of ourselves. She says, when viewed this way, it doesn't matter whether we are perfect mothers, whether we work or stay at home, make our own baby food, or sew our own Halloween costumes. What matters is whether we engage in the experience in an open-hearted way so that we are there, truly present to our own life with all of its heartaches, disappointments, and joys. If you mother in the spirit, you cannot go wrong, no matter how many mistakes you make. The right way to wholeness, says Jung, is full of fateful detours and wrong turning. If embraced consciously, motherhood can help you become more whole. Isn't that exciting? When we frame it this way, doesn't motherhood actually sound like more of an adventure than a task or indentured servitude? It does to me. It actually feels exciting. It's easy to lose that excitement, but I know it's available to us. The irony is that we will all fall down the well, whether we want to or not. That part of our story is out of our control, but whether or not we reemerge with treasure or a curse is. And that's what we're going to explore on this show. I'm so excited. I'm also fascinated by the time-honored and tested path of maiden to mother to matriarch. It's a path that we've only very recently traded in for a singular, youth-obsessed, never-ending and never-aging maidenhood that's such a shallow substitute for the transformation that awaits when we're willing to surrender to the confrontation that is down at the bottom of that well, okay? I loved being 21, but 21-year-old me does not have the depth or experience to carry me through life. I want to glean every bit of treasure motherhood has to offer. The days are long, but the years are truly short. And I want dirt under my fingernails and to wear out my shoes because I have lived in this phase so deeply. And I want us all to feel more permission to just love this journey and hate it sometimes, and to help each other navigate the darkness. But I want us to all feel more permission to be optimistic about it in spite of the hard. I don't know if it was COVID or politics or social media or what, but it feels like there is a dark cloud that kind of just came over, looming over mothers for, it's been there for a while now. And I just think it's time to push it away and let the sun shine through, giving us the courage and the faith to be present and optimistic for all of it with our little ones and ourselves. I also want to look ahead to my future as a matriarch and yours, which to me means not pining for a younger version of myself, something that will never be, but looking ahead at a more authentic and even more beautiful and embodied version of me. But it'll be different, right? Let's tap back into our grandmothers and their mothers and the most amazing mothers through history, gleaning all that we can and rediscovering the past that they've already forged. Let's age using the hard-earned wisdom from our continual descents down the well and the treasures and the inevitable curses that we reemerge with for our own wholeness and our own healing and to bless the lives of others. So let's do it. I don't even fully know what that means yet, but I'm going to figure it out. We're going to figure it out together. So let's fall down the well together and find some treasure. Thank you so much for being here. Until next time.